Shalom. I would like to start this lesson first by saying all praises, honors, and glories due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. First and foremost, for giving me the inspiration to put this lesson together. Okay. Also for this wisdom, this knowledge, this truth. Okay. For giving us the eye salve to see. Also, I'd like to say double honors to my apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule and teach well. As you can see, they are the only leaders, okay, who pretty much stand firm on the doctrine and who do not change, okay, regardless of the public's opinion. Also, last but not least, you believers out there that listen, that learn, that call on the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. To you all, I say Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who are scattered abroad, who may not have the appearance of a typical Israelite, but their faith represents that of an Israelite. To you, I say Shalom. And to the Akim, the Akwaf, and the children who are listening and learning, you believers out there, to you all, I say Shalom. May the blessing of the election be upon you and your household. Now, this is a quote from, I don't know who this is, Chanakya. It sounds like Hebrew, Chanakya. Kana wa, or kana ya. Kanakya. That sounds like a Hebrew name. It says here, it is better to be without a king than to have a bad one. Okay. And this quote was inspired from a word that I didn't look up. I just opened up the etymology app because I wanted to look up a word, and this word popped up instead. Okay. Kakistocracy, a noun. It says here, government by the worst element of a society, 1829, coined by Thomas Love Peacock. An analogy of its opposite, aristocracy, because an aristocratic government, or let me say aristocratic society, is a society that's governed by the elite or the cream of the crop. From Greek kakistos, worst, superlative of kakos, bad, which perhaps is related to pi root kakka, to defecate, cracy, which I believe cracy means government, so it will be kakka or kakka, which defecate, shit, bad, and cracy meaning govern, so bad government. Perhaps the closest word in ancient Greek was kakonomia, okay, a bad system of laws and government, hence kakonomos, with bad laws, ill governed. Okay, so we live in a kakistocracy. I have to slow myself down when I'm saying that word. It's almost like a tongue twister. Kakistocracy, excuse me. We live in a kakistocracy society, which, you know, this society is ruled by who? The worst of the worst, the scum of all men, the Edomites, okay? And the upper echelon of the Edomites are the elites. They're the ones who are ruling the society. That's why everywhere you go, everyone is depressed, you know? I know people who have money. I've seen people who have money, yet they're always constantly depressed. They have to take their mind off things. And they're always worrying because this society is not built to let you at ease, you know, unless you have generational wealth and everything just been laid upon you, you know, for years to come. But if you don't have generational wealth, there are a lot of things that you have to worry about, especially for your future generations, okay? I was talking to a lady. She was Vietnamese. She could have been a Jake. I'm laying to her that she might have been a Jake. Who knows? But ultimately, the Lord knows. But that's just my own personal opinion. But we were having a good-ass conversation. I call her my adopted grandmother because she looks at me as her son. You know, she actually calls me her son, her grandson. So she was pretty much having a conversation about her granddaughter. because I asked her if she had any granddaughter, and she was like, "Well, why? You want to marry them?" um, I definitely would have probably married her granddaughters, but unfortunately, which what I'm about to get into, her granddaughter fell into some mischief, and she, when she was in not high school, when she was in college, okay, she fell in love with a bad guy, a street guy, and this dude was selling drugs. He was involved in the drug business, and they were living in an apartment together. And police would be coming searching the apartment, and she would be pretty much sticking up for him. But later on, he eventually got caught up and was arrested. Okay, and she was also arrested as well for pretty much helping him hide the drugs. I believe she was released. He was released as well, and now they're married. Okay, she's married to this scumbag, and she has pretty much brought shame, okay, upon her whole family. Okay, because now she left school. Okay, she left school. She had a future for herself, and she threw all of that away for a bad guy. You know the saying, girls. They always say this, that good guys finish last, which is true. Okay, so she fell in love over, head over heels with this bad dude, and now they're living together, married. But this is a guy that has like a criminal past, a criminal record. And once you enter that life, unless you come into his truth, there's no way for you to turn away from that lifestyle, because it always comes back. The connections, you showing your face to people. It's just a hard business, quote unquote, business to get out of. Okay. And trying to remember why I mentioned that. Yes. And only that can really happen. Okay. Only that can really happen through a society like this. Okay. And now her grandmother, she has all these issues to worry about. Okay. She has all these issues to worry about. She has to worry about how her grandchildren are doing. But, um, this type of stuff wouldn't happen. The point of the story is that this type of stuff wouldn't happen under a righteous rulership. The whole thing with the drug trade and all that. Woman, okay, let me say, family members wouldn't have to worry that their daughter, okay, could be caught up into some shady business. And in the ancient world, we have a way of setting up marriages, which was what? Through the father. The father will arrange the marriage, but they didn't do that because they were engulfed by the liberal ideas of the West, which was democracy, which is democracy. They were engulfed by these ideas, so pretty much they let themselves get entangled into America's wine and philosophy, and now parts of their family has been destroyed. And she carries that name. Well, she did get married, so she changed her name, but that name is still honored because family members, people who know her, there's a reputation that follows her now that she can't shake off. Okay, and my mother, she would always tell me when I was young that if you make your bed, you have to lie in it. Okay, meaning you have to deal with the consequences, and everybody has to deal with the consequences that they have made. But it's not supposed to be like that. What I'm trying to say is, if this was a righteous society, okay, you wouldn't have to worry about things like that. Okay, whether your daughter would marry a drug dealer, whether she would go missing, whether your son would turn out like a street figure. Things like this wouldn't enter your mind if this society was righteous. You have to worry about whether your daughter wants to change her thing and become a man. That's folly, right? That's folly, and this is all a part of Esau's, okay, this dysfunctional society. This is Sirach 10 verse 1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And I was thinking to myself, when this happened, when she told me the story, that when we get into rulership, no one will ever feel sad. They'll even be happy to serve us. Okay. And I always thought of this as from a godly perspective. Even though we will put hell on the nations, it won't be hell, okay, the type of hell that Esau has perpetuated throughout the whole earth. You know, there's a scripture where it says in Isaiah 14, you know, this is he that who pretty much put the hammer on the nations. Okay, in fact, let me go ahead and get it. Isaiah 14th chapter, right? Isaiah 14. Yeah, Isaiah 14, verse 16. Okay. Yes, how the hammer of the whole earth is cut down and broken. Let me go to King James. Let me read it in the Bible Hub. It says here in King James Version, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? And then it mentions on that did make the world a wilderness and did not open the house of his prisoners. Who are the prisoners? The Israelites. We are the prisoners, all right? Prisoners in Babylon, pursuant to Jeremiah 50, the 33rd verse, okay? The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, okay? And they that held them go, their captors refused to let them go, okay? Even to this day, no Deontay Wilder. Even to this day, even to this day. Okay, so a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And the Lord is looking to bring order on the earth because the whole earth is out of course. This is supposed to be a paradise. Okay, you got to remember, earth was called Idon at one point, which is Eden. It's supposed to be a paradise, a joy, a place of joy. But now it is a place of sorrow, okay, of grief. There are wars all over the world, okay? Okay, in every continent that you see, there are wars and civil wars happening. Okay, even in quote unquote civilized societies like Western Europe. Okay, Western Europe likes to pride themselves on being civilized compared to Eastern Europe. Western Europe has been engulfed by leftist liberal ideas, you know, and now those ideals are destroying the family structure, okay, in that country. Now the women are all out of order. They're loose. They feel like they don't need a man, and it brings the birth rate of that nation down dramatically, okay, drastically. The birth rate of that nation decreases drastically because now the order between the man and the woman has been broken, okay? Because now the women are now acting like men and the men are acting like women. All you have to do is go to places like Scandinavia, these Scandinavian countries. You will see that the men are effeminate and the women are starting to become more masculine, more assertive, you know. There's no there's no there's no there's no whim, or let me say there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not even a trace of femininity among those women, okay? And that's a problem because now the men refuse to procreate with the woman, and that brings what? The birth rate of that nation down. The Lord told us a commandment: be fruitful and multiply. A man and a woman, that's like the most beautiful thing. As it says in, I think it's Proverbs 30, verse 19, it says, as an eagle is in the air, as a serpent upon the rock, so is a way with a man and his maid. Okay, so that is the beautiful order of things. That's how the Lord has set it up, and no man, okay, shall come through between a man and a woman, especially when they're in a relationship. Okay, that is something that has to be sacred and kept holy. Verse 2: as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's the beauty of it. Okay, so if the people are wise, or let me say, if the judge, the king of that city, is wise, okay, then his officers who are underneath him, who take his orders, shall be wise as well. because they're going to leech off of his energy. They're going to receive some of his wisdom, his counsel, and that wisdom that's placed on the officers will spread to the people, because energy is contagious, right? Energy is contagious, and whatever you are, it spreads to other people. That's why there's a law that says if a homosexual is found, okay, within the nation of Israel, you put him to death. Why? Because that energy is contagious. It's like a demon. It is a demon, and it will jump on other people. So you have to get rid of that evil as fast as you can. Same thing with an adulterer or a murderer. Okay, if the murder is you know what murder is. It's pretty much an unjustified, premeditated kill. It's not a kill through self-defense. Okay, it's something that was premeditated. So people like that you have to get rid of, because that energy, that demon, would jump on other people and it will infect the whole population. Okay, as a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And that's why, when Isaiah 2, okay, will be fully established, I'm going to read a little bit of it. The whole nation, well, starting with the nation of Israel, when we become righteous, all the other nations will start to leech off that energy and start to adopt our righteous ways. First, it's going to be through force, because during that 1,000 years, we're going to be teaching them the law, statutes, and commandments. So when they coming out that 1,000-year period of slavery, right, they're going to already have like that all righteous energy on them, okay? Because it's going to be contagious. They're going to be willing to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahshua. They're going to be willing to serve us. Why? So they can learn of more wisdom, so they can learn of more knowledge and understanding, because they're going to see the effects of what the law, statute, commandments will do in the earth. How clean the waters will be, how clean the air will be, how delicious the food will be, nutritious the food will be. Everyone will see the effects of a righteous rulership. So that energy, that vibration will leach and fall on them. And we won't even have to, come in there and see if they're doing what we told them to do. They're going to be automatically doing it, because they're going to see the result. There's a saying that actions speak louder than words. So if you want to persuade somebody, all you have to do is let your actions speak. And actions will speak in itself when the earth is cleansed, okay, and is rejuvenating itself. And you're going to see pretty much what Idon, paradise, was supposed to be. Then they'll be like, oh, shit. As it says in Deuteronomy 7, it says if you do these statutes, these commandments, okay, in the eyes of the nations, let me go ahead and get that. Deuteronomy 7. I think it's 7 verse 6, right? Let me read it in the GNT. Let me read it in the GNT, baby. All right, this is Deuteronomy 7 verse... Sure, I would say this is a wise and understanding people. This is a wise and understanding people. Please be patient with me. I didn't have this. I didn't meditate on this scripture before I started this lesson. It just came to me now. You know how this Holy Spirit is. When I start my lesson, I just pick a few scriptures, and then the Holy Spirit takes over. Sometimes I'll even diverge from my topic and go into a different topic. This is Deuteronomy 4, verse 1. Teach you wisdom that you may live for this. Okay, you shall not add to the words. Okay. Let me read a little bit. This is Deuteronomy 4, verse 6. Now therefore hearken, O Israel. I said I was going to read it in the GNT. Let me go ahead and read it in the GNT. This is Deuteronomy 4, verse 1. Then Moses said to the people, obey all the laws that I am teaching you. and you will live and occupy the land which the Lord, the power of your ancestors, has given you. Do not add anything to what I command you, and do not take anything away. Obey the commandments of the Lord your power that I have given you. You yourselves saw what the Lord did at Mount Peor. He destroyed everyone who worshipped Baal there, but those of you who were faithful to the Lord your power are still alive today. Verse 5, I have taught you all the laws. And that's also going to be, that's a future foretelling of what's going to happen here in America. Those who are faithful to the Lord will be alive and will be taken. Okay? And those who are not faithful to the Lord will be left. That's why it says in second Esdras, one shall be taken and the other left. There shall be two people in the city, one shall be taken and the other left, meaning the one who's taken is going to be taken in the chariots from the coming destruction, and the person who's left is going to be left to what? To the taste of that fire. Verse 5, I have taught you all the laws as the Lord my power told me to do. Obey them in the land that you are about to invade and occupy. Obey them faithfully. And this will show the people of other nations how wise you are. When they hear of all these laws, they will say, what wisdom and understanding this great nation has. Okay? And we've seen just a little bit, during the time of King David, even though there were skirmishes within the nation of Israel, between the house of Saul and the house of David. You had a lot of niggotry that was going on, right? The house of Saul were acting like niggas. There was still some sense of righteousness through King David because he was a righteous judge, and that righteousness spread unto the rest of Israel, that vibration. No other nation, no matter how great, has a power who is so near when they need him as the Lord our power is to us. He answers us whenever we call for help. No other nation, no matter how great, has laws so just as those that I have taught you today. Okay? Be on your guard. Make certain that you do not forget, as long as you live, what you have seen with your own eyes, So this right here is a fulfillment of what's to come. Okay? That same amazement that was told about will be shown, even starting now, when the brotherhood are gathering, when the brotherhood are gathering together, right? When the brotherhood are gathering together for an event, and they see how orderly we are, the bottom of society that they call us, right? Because usually when, I hate to say it, but usually when niggers and spics, when they gather around, it's a bunch of chaos, okay? It might not be chaos at first, but there will be chaos later on. It's just part of the curses. But when we gather around, there's peace, there's stability, and they're all in amazement. They're like, damn, what is this? What are they a part of? What is this, And the more we come out there, the more I see the amazement in these people's eyes. They don't actually look at it as a cult. They look at it as we're, how do I say it? As interesting figures, they want to know more about us. We appear mysterious because they never seen something like this before, unraveling before their eyes, right? So when we're doing this stuff, we're just a little representation of what's to come. But in the kingdom, man, it's going to be totally out of this world. And that lady, if she's an Israelite, she wouldn't have to worry about stuff like that. Her daughter will be good. Well, if her husband is an Israelite, her daughter will be good. Okay? And, they wouldn't have to worry about drugs or any of that nonsense, plaguing the streets and destroying the lives of younger generation of children. Even if they're not, let's say they're not Israelites, right? And they're heathens. After 1,000 years, they will still be good because they will have their lands. They will have fruits and virtuous foods and nutritious and all these good things. The earth itself will be refurnished and resupplied. Water will be clean. Air will be breathable. And the only tax that they will have to pay is just their yearly tribute. There will be no more, property tax and all that nonsense that Esau does, putting tax on food and all that. That's oppressive, That is what really, oppresses a people, especially when you put interest on top of that. Interest is an evil thing. Usury, and the scriptures warns about usury. Okay? So from there, I was going to read Isaiah 2. Let me read Isaiah 2. In fact, let me go to... Here we go to Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And she was happy, but she was in a mournful state the more I talked to her, and she just broke down in tears, and I had to hug her and give her comfort. And even to this day, I still think about her because she was a very kind woman. And I believe that she was an Israelite, me personally, I believe that she was an Israelite indeed, so even to this day, I still think about her. But, when the kingdom of heaven is established, she wouldn't have to worry about things like that, She wouldn't have to worry at all, okay? So from there, let me go to Isaiah, the second chapter. It says here in the GNT, here is the message which the Most High gave to Isaiah, the son of Amos, about Judah and Jerusalem. In days to come, the mountain where the temple stands will be the highest one of all. The temple are the elect men, the 144,000, the 12 apostles who will sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. King David on top, which he's a part of the 12 apostles, if you know. He'll be the head apostle. He'll be the king. And then you have Yahushua over him, which is like the king of all kings, okay? Under the 12 apostles, you had the 144, and then under the 144, you had the 1/3, then the rest of Israel, okay? The average common Israelite, right? We don't want to be that common Israelite because there will be a separation between the elect and the non-elect, okay? The non-elect will not have the same rights, okay, the same privileges as an elect member. There's just no way, because we're not going to labor and deny ourselves of pleasure, right? Because that's what the flesh desires. We've been living our lives according to the spirit and not to the lust of the flesh. We're not going to do all those things just for us to be equal in the kingdom. No fucking way. Excuse my German. Verse 3, many nations will come streaming to it and let their people, and their people will say, let us go up the hill of the Lord to the temple of Israel's power. He will teach us of what he wants us to do. We will walk in the paths he has chosen, okay? That's the beauty. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. That is when aristocracy will be established, the aristocratic government that we are all seeking for, okay? But only the elect have attained it, pursuing to Romans 10, verse 3. What then? Israel has not attained that which he seeketh for. I think it's Romans 10, verse 7. But the election has attained it, and the rest were blinded. We have attained what? The kingdom, okay? Because why? The kingdom of heaven is within you. It starts within us, with this knowledge, this truth, and we are building and establishing the kingdom of heaven, okay? Verse 3. He will teach us of what he wants us to do. We will walk in the paths he has chosen. For the Lord's teaching comes from Jerusalem. From Zion, he speaks to his people. Okay? He will settle disputes among great nations. They will hammer their swords into plows and their spears into pruning knives. Okay? And nations will never go to war, never prepare for battle again. No more wars. No more wars and peace, everlasting peace. And everyone is looking for peace except for the elites. I did not mean to rhyme. I'm not a rapper. I did not mean to rhyme, That was a bar, I should probably add that to a mixtape. I'm joking. But yeah, the nations will never go to war ever again. And that's what I'm honestly looking for. A world without war is like a chaste dream. It's something that cannot be fathomed or fathom. People cannot even honor the idea of a world without war, a world of peace, because it's something that's out of this world. It's not reality. Now, descendants of Jacob Let us walk in the light which the Lord gives us. Okay, and we are walking in that light. Okay, as being children of light, followers of Yahushua, He is that light, and we are walking in His ways. Okay, and those ways will, will lead unto everlasting life. So I'm gonna go ahead and end with Daniel 7, verse 18. It says here, "But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever." And that's the righteous rulership that we are looking for. That kingdom. Okay. The same kingdom that the apostles were asking Yahushua, when is the time, okay, that you should set up, the kingdom of heaven? And the Lord told them, look, the end is yet, but not yet. Okay, these things must happen, and then the end shall come. So they were all looking for the kingdom, which is what? The kingdom of Israel, or let me say the nation of Israel ruling in righteousness, and all the other nations bowing down and following after our righteousness. That is the beautiful story, the beautiful ending that the Lord has bestowed in this journey. Okay, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Hopefully you were enlightened, okay, through this lesson. This is just something I was pondering on, and it was after camp. I just seen this pop up on etymology, and I was reading the definition. I was like, I got to save this. I have to bookmark it. And I just been thinking about that, kakistocracy. And now, as I was in the dealership, getting my car serviced, right, I seen the faces of people, and they look miserable. They look fucking miserable, man. It's like, come on. These people are miserable. They wake up, they go to work for 4 days a week. If you're lucky, you get 4 days, 5 days a week. Some even working 6 days a week. And the only time they get to themselves is on Saturday, and they go out and party and drink. They'll come back home all fucked up. Woman, they go out there, get loose, get with a man for a one-night stand, and then they go back to their apartment with 50 cats, and they're still depressed, I'm not throwing any shade, but that's just how the American people, this is how they live, and it's a little bit different over there in Europe. The lifestyle is a little bit different, especially in those Mediterranean countries. They don't work to live, they live to work, if you understand that. They exist not just to work, but they just live to work. They enjoy life and then they work. Here in America, you work so you can live. They live to work, okay? So it's totally opposite in those different countries. And all of that stems from a bad rulership. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my babbling. I'm going to let you guys go. And Lord willing, I can see you guys all again with another beautiful lesson. Until next time, shalom.